Joining us now from his house in Charlotte is the big handsome himself, 2013 All-American, 2011 Indiana Mr. Basketball. More importantly, Tate, you know how much that matters to me. And perhaps the most important of all, the last draft pick in the history of the Charlotte Bobcats. Tate, are you aware of this? His name is Cody Zeller. He is joining us now. Cody, I want to start here. Everyone's talking about The Last Dance. This is sweeping the nation. It's pretty much the only content we have as a country right now to discuss. As a man who has Michael Jordan as a boss, let's start there. What is that like to have Michael Jordan be your boss? And I assume sign your checks. If not really, then like figuratively sign your checks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been loving The Last Dance. It's I think like you said, it gives everyone something to look forward to on Sundays, if nothing else. So it's pretty cool. Everyone talks about the debate of Jordan versus LeBron or Kobe, whatever. So, but like to your point, I'm kind of obligated. MJ signs my check, so I'm kind of obligated to say that he is the greatest of all time. But I think the documentary has been really cool. I think I was like five or six the Last Dance year, 70, 97, 98. And so I don't remember a lot of like the contract negotiations, the Jerry Krause drama. I've never heard of all that stuff. So I just remember watching MJ. I used to watch my little, we had an unfinished basement I used to watch with my dad. We watched on like probably a 15-inch TV, not glamorous at all, but that was some of my earliest basketball memories is watching, especially those Bulls Jazz series back and forth. So it's just kind of cool to kind of relive some of those memories about watching this.
Yeah, and Cody, we're the exact same age, and that is literally like the first basketball memories I have. So when I think about Michael Jordan, I think about a fadeaway, and then you watch some of these earlier highlights, and he's dunking all over people. He's like doing 360s in the air, and that's like the Jordan, the highlights that we didn't get to see as much. But obviously, you're around Michael. Michael likes to talk about, all of his highlights and many things that he's done. So is he texting you guys to make sure that you are watching, to make sure that you are seeing what's going on?
Not too much, but
Okay.
he definitely he still has that competitive edge. That's for sure. He's still a couple of times I've seen him walk through the. He's around every once in a while. He'll be in Charlotte for like a week at a two at a time, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So it's cool to have him around. He'll walk through the training room, and I've seen him a couple of times. Like a guy will be sitting out with a sprained ankle, and he'll walk through and be like, "Man, I had 53 and watched it on a sprained ankle." But he's still super competitive, and like what you see in the documentary is exactly the same. He's got all the one-liners. He's always, egging on guys. So it's cool to have him around. Like I said, it's just to get a few minutes with him is always special. Whether it's talking to X and O's or just hearing him tell a story. He's a great storyteller, as you can tell from the documentary. So yeah, it's really cool.
Is any part of that intimidating, that dynamic of having him there and like having him talk about his twisted ankle? I mean, like just stuff like that, just saying like you have a bum ankle and he's like, I dropped 53, like just challenging your manhood at all times. That has to be intimidating, right? Like
Absolutely. And it's a lot of other guys. Like I've been around enough guys now. Like I played LeBron 20 times in my career. It's still cool to play against him, but I don't think I've ever gotten over like the fact that it's Michael Jordan, and everyone knows when he's in the building, and it's not just like, oh, that's just MJ, that's just another guy, and I've never gotten over that. So yeah, like you said, he's always kind of ripping guys. So but I mean, we try to give it right back to him. He loves getting back into the trash talk. So guys try to give it back to him a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a competitive problem. And Cody, we want to take it back because this is a college basketball podcast. And as I told you before, Titus is an Indiana guy. I'm a North Carolina guy. And when you were coming down, I remember your recruitment very vividly because your brother, Tyler Zeller, he was on the 09 title team for North Carolina. I was a big fan of the Zeller family. I was very excited about the Cody Zeller, pipeline that was going to come to North Carolina. There was obviously, 3 schools that were in the mix. There was Butler, there was Indiana, and there was North Carolina. You decided to go with Tom Crean because you called you, of course, the big handsome, and we could, and Carolina could not compete with that. But can you just talk about that recruitment a little bit? Because I thought it was it was a very interesting recruitment and a fun recruit, a recruitment between, Indiana and North Carolina, obviously.
Yeah, it was, those are some fun memories of, obviously I had 2 older brothers that went before me. And so I was kind of able to watch them kind of go through the process and figure out, how they navigated it. And it is tough being a 15-year-old kid trying to get, recruited. You don't know you're making a big life decision of where you're going to go to college. And so I was able to,
Cody, I'm pretty sure that 15-year-old me was tweeting at you to go to North Carolina. So I apologize for that, first and foremost.
So, yeah, but it was cool to see, like, Luke obviously went his own route to Notre Dame, had a good career there. Tyler went to North Carolina.
Mhm.
And, I kind of came a sophomore, junior in high school for my recruitment, kind of became on the big stage. And I narrowed it down to Butler, North Carolina, and Indiana, like you said. And Butler had Brad Stevens. They had just been to 2 national championships. North Carolina, obviously, Tyler was there. They won the national championship Tyler's freshman year.
Yeah.
And then Indiana was kind of rebuilding, but it's kind of it's an hour away from home, and it's the in-state school. And so I had 3 great options. I don't think I really could have gone wrong with any of the 3. At the end of the day, it ended up being, Butler was still in the Horizon League at the time.
Yep.
So I wanted to play on a big stage. And then North Carolina was a little bit so-so on me. They had Tyler, they had John Henson, and they had Michael McAdoo.
Yep.
And he was kind of in my class. It was Anthony Davis was the best big man, and then it was McAdoo, and then I was kind of the third guy. So they were kind of set. They had they also had the Ware twins. They had just transferred, so Coach Williams had talked to me, and that kind of opened up a scholarship for me. So before the Ware twins had transferred, I didn't even have a scholarship offer. And so anyway, it was kind of and then at Indiana, the team wasn't that good at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I was kind of heading into a little bit of a rebuild. I knew that, I could kind of see the development that guys like Victor had made, kind of see the hard work that he had made. So I kind of took a leap of faith and stayed at the in-state school. And I was so glad I did. It was a fun couple of years in Bloomington.
I feel like you're leaving out one big element of this whole decision, which is that if you would have committed anywhere other than Indiana, there would have been hundreds of thousands.
There would have been riots. It would have been like Coach Knight all over again.
Yeah. There would have been middle-aged men in candy striped pants that would have driven to your house and just lost their mind. We already let 2 Zellers get out of Bloomington. There's no way we can let it.
Funny guys that have. You talk about like Sean May.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, you were the savior of Indiana basketball, Cody. Like, in all seriousness, was this something you felt in recruiting? Like how much did that weigh into it? And how much did your brothers, because as you said, IU was an hour away from your house, and your brothers obviously were both Mr. Basketballs, and they were I assume just as coveted by Indiana as you were, and they did not go to Indiana. How much of that pressure, like, does the fact that neither one of them put more pressure on you to go to Indiana? Is it like, well, they didn't go to Indiana, so I don't necessarily have to? Or am I just making all this up and you didn't really think about it like that at all?
No, I think you're right. I think each situation was a little bit different because Luke got recruited by Mike Davis, and Tyler was recruited by Kelvin Sampson. So he had all the violations going on as Tyler was being recruited. And so for me, things were fine. Things were kind of on the way up, and they hadn't quite turned the corner yet. But I mean, I could tell from the way that they worked, the way that they competed. Practices at Indiana were nuts. So I knew that the team would eventually kind of turn the corner. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was Instagram wasn't around much, but Twitter was big even when I was in high school. So I mean, my mom used to follow, especially when I was at school. She used to follow my whole day just by searching my name on Twitter. So she would be like, and what'd you get at Subway? And I was like, what did I get at Subway? And she'd be like, so, why'd you stop by Best Buy? And so, but it was all the people that had tweeted like, hey, I'm in line behind Cody at Subway. And, hey, Cody's in aisle 3 of Best Buy. So yeah, it was a little wild, but I mean, even, in my recruitment, the SID at Bloomington always tells a story of there would be all over all the chat lines would be all over like Cody wore a North Carolina blue sweatshirt to high school. Like he's going to North
I remember that story. That was a big story for everybody. Everyone was very excited about that.
And you guys consider, like, as a 15-year-old kid in high school, like that's the only one that was clean. Like I just had no other options. But for these people, they think it's like that's a signal that I'm sending. That's my decision. So
yeah.
Anyway, it was a little wild for sure.
Yeah.
And then Cody, obviously you decide to commit to Tom Crean, which we are big fans of Tom Crean and the recruitment that he is able to bring to the table at every single program that he's been at. Obviously, how many times did he mention Dwayne Wade when he was recruiting you? If you had to do an over under, what was the number? Maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Quite a few. Yeah,
we love that. We love that, Coach.
That's all right.
And I wonder how many times he talks about me, Vic, and Dwayne Wade now.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
Yes.
There was one that we went back. Vic and I went back a year or two after we had been in the NBA. So we were both in Bloomington the same year, and so we sat in on a kind of a recruiting pitch with one of the guys, and it was like a before and after. It was like an improvement tape that Vic and I had. And it was all of my lowlights from my freshman year and all of my highlights from my sophomore year. Like, you would have thought that I was the worst player in basketball my freshman year and like this star as a sophomore year. I was like, I wasn't that bad as a freshman. Right. But he's a good recruiter. He's he was great. He can talk for hours on the phone. So I mean, I would, especially as a high schooler. It was most nights I was on the phone with him for an hour or two. I could almost set the phone down and come back 15 minutes later and he'd still be talking. So he's a good recruiter for sure.
I heard a story about Coach Crean from a source inside the program that I trust with my life. Yeah, that I've told this story publicly. I think I told it on Pardon My Take for the first time. It was a few years ago. That he once upon a time wanted to get a live bat, like not a baseball bat, like an animal, a bat, to use as a motivational tactic. And he asked the managers to go find a bat, and they looked at each other like, what the hell? Yeah. What? This is not in our job description. We're supposed to fill up water bottles, not go get bats. And then he said, well, can you, and then they looked into it. They said, we can't legally buy bats in Indiana, Coach. That's not something that you can do. And he said, well, why don't you go to like Bradford Woods or whatever it was and go try to find one. Have you heard of this story, Cody? Does this ring a bell? Is this
1,000%. Very true. Very true. Very true. I can confirm it 100%. So to give you a little bit of a backstory behind it. So that came from, I think it was my sophomore year. It was the year that the Hardballs met in the championship.
In the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So the two of them had just played in the Super Bowl, and Howard ended up probably 2 weeks later, they had some time off and they both came to Bloomington. And so they sat in on one of our practices, and after practice, I think it was leading up to the Purdue game at Purdue. And so both of them talked to us, and both of them are just like high strung, a little crazy.
Yeah.
And so they both talked to us for probably 15 or 20 minutes. And after each one of them talked, it was like you'd run through a wall for those two. But I can't remember if it was Jim or John were talking about, they tell their players that they should be just mean and nasty, like rabies-filled, blood-sucking bats. And he kept on going on about like how descriptive that they need to be of like these nasty bats. And the other one went, and he was talking about being not a murderer, but a serial killer. And he said that because serial killers know what they're going to do, like what they're going to use to kill the person, what they're going to do with the body, all this stuff. So he was like, you need to have a plan and you need to execute the plan. So we tell our players, like, we need to be more like serial. It was like these dudes have lost their mind.
Oh my God.
So, but it was like really, really well said, like super energetic. Like you run through a wall for of these two.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was probably, I don't know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, leading up to playing Purdue on the weekend. And so like pregame comes along and Coach Crean pulls out like these bats, and he's got obviously not a live bat because he couldn't pull it off. But he has these like plastic little toy bats, and he like throws them. So that was like his big motivational thing to like tie it all together. But yeah, 100% true. I'll confirm that.
You mentioned that was before the Purdue game. You never lost to Purdue, did you? Is that correct?
No, that's something I'm proud about. Yeah.
So as the Indiana basketball savior, a man who was given that title when you committed, what are we going to do about this, Cody? Since you left, IU is 1-10 against Purdue. You were 4-0. The Hoosiers are now 1-10. How do we save this? How do we save the rivalry?
I don't know. I think we got it on the right track now. We got some good recruits coming in. Yeah. I like Archie. I always rubbed into Purdue fans. They're like, what was it like playing in West Lafayette? I was like, I had a blast every time I went to West
Right.
Lafayette. The crowd was quiet. We had big
Yeah.
leads. It was all that. So
Yeah.
I love rubbing it into Purdue fans out. Yeah, I had plenty of success when I was there.
Cody, I have to ask you about your media tour, because this is a quarantine time, and everyone in the world, all the athletes, everyone's on Zoom, everyone's like doing these interviews, everyone's talking to everybody. And I've seen you go around. I follow Fox Sports South, and I see all the interviews that are going on, and I always keep up with what the players are doing. And the thing that you have going right now is you have the guitar with you, right? and you're going around, and this is the thing that's working for you. So Titus and I just wanted to ask you about that, because I think it's a powerful move. I think it's a smart move, and I think it's a good move for the quarantine. It's like Cody Zeller learns guitar. It's a lot of headlines out of that.
Yeah, we'll see if I come out of this at the end of the quarantine knowing how to play. So far, it's been a bumpy road. I don't have any musical ability at all.
Okay.
So we're having to start from all the way at the scratch, like learning how to read music.
Yeah.
I don't have much rhythm at all.
We got to get a 4 count. Once you get a 4 count, you can build up.
Yeah. I don't have any rhythm. I can't, so. But I will say I know probably 6 or 7 chords.
Nice.
I'm not very quick at switching from one to the other, so I can do like the G, C, D pretty good. Those 3. Which I'm a country music fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like country music to me.
Yeah. I'm learning that's basically all that you need to know. So, so I'm getting there. Other than that, everyone's been loving today. So today, I spent literally my entire day researching thermostats, and I have this old thermostat in my house. It's 25 years old, and I'm trying to convert it to a Nest, but I'm making sure it's compatible with it. And so anyway, I've been on the phone with my dad, hey, how does a furnace work? Do I need to, do I need to shut the vents, the rooms that I'm not using, whatever. So I was like, man, this is a thrilling day. I've literally done nothing else other than just research thermostats. So
I feel like we're a month or so away in this quarantine from seeing the Cody Zeller homeowner YouTube channel.
Yeah,
teach people how to fix things around the house. Yeah, that's amazing. How are you staying in shape during the quarantine? I'm fascinated by that, because I think all these fans are hopeful that the NBA comes back and just sports in general come back, but I don't think anybody really stops to think that you guys probably need a little bit of time to get back in shape, right? It's not if you're not working out, or are you working out? How does this work?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's everyone's talking about how to get back, but I mean, the worst case scenario is if you rush back and guys are out of shape, they haven't been staying in shape, and there's an injury spike. So that would be worst case. But I haven't had a whole lot else to do other than work out. So I ordered some dumbbells to the house, and our strength and conditioning coaches have been good about.
You just do prison workouts? You just do
exactly.
That's
just
it.
Push-ups, sit-ups all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they send some body weight stuff that we can do. It's been beautiful weather here in Charlotte, so luckily I run through my neighborhood, and so that's been fine. So I feel like I'm in good shape right now just from running and lifting weights. I played tennis to just open back up, so I played tennis a few days ago. I played tennis in high school, so.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I played doubles. I just stand up in the net and just kill everything that comes near me. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, you're basically John Isner. I was gonna say, and you're in Charlotte, his hometown. So this is you guys play against each other.
Have you talked to Gordon Hayward about this? About your tennis playing?
I haven't. I've heard that he's really good. Yeah. I mean, he was one of the top players in the state, I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that would be an amazing doubles team to have you and you guys need to enter a celebrity tennis thing where it's you two on a doubles team. That would be so damn intimidating to have you two giants just out there.
I'm not sure I'm on his level. I played, like I said, I played in high school. I never made it out of sectionals or anything, but I got a good serve. I got a good forehand. I played doubles, so I can kind of hide my backhand, which is good for me. I'm just good enough to return it with my backhand, so I'm not hitting any winners. Not to give you the whole scouting report on my tennis game, but
no, man. Did your brothers play tennis?
Tyler played for a couple of years in high school. My mom or my parents made us play a fall sport, and it was good. It was just to kind of give us a break from basketball. They didn't want us getting drained by basketball, so they started that rule when Luke was in 7th or 8th grade. So they made us play a fall sport. So he ran cross country, and Tyler and I were like, "Why would you run for a sport? The dumbest thing I ever heard of." So Tyler and I picked up tennis, and so Tyler played I think through his junior year of high school, and then so I played in I think 7th grade through most of high school.
Nice. Who when you guys would play, maybe not necessarily tennis, but like ping pong, video games, all that kind of stuff, who was the alpha and the brother? If you want to talk about Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan, Tyler, Luke, and Cody, what are the rankings there? I don't care about basketball as much. I care more about like you're playing pool or you're playing
Neither did we. We didn't care about basketball either. Most of the people are like, who's the better of the three? It's like, well, we didn't compete in basketball as much as like everything else was a competition. So we're all 3 years apart. So Tyler's 3 years older, Luke's 6 years older. So Luke was the guy just because he was 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we made everything in a competition. There was always something getting broken. We had obviously growing up in Indiana, you can't play outside year round, especially in the winter. So we had a lofted living room. So it was a perfect spot for like playing baseball and, throwing stuff off the wall and everything else. But that was like the one nice room in the house. So my mom had all of her like she had 2 antique lamps. She had like a nice couch. So we weren't allowed to play sports in the living room. And so, of course, like every time that mom left for the grocery store or anything, it was like, all right, game on. We're in the living room. And so everything was getting, and we ended up breaking it. We had the 2 antique lamps that she had. Naturally, those were the goalposts for our soccer game.
Yes.
And so, we shot one off the antique lamp, shattered it in a million pieces. Another time we were playing football. Luke was the all-time quarterback. Tyler and I were wide receivers, and Luke threw one a little bit deep, and I made a diving catch into the china cabinet, and there's just glass everywhere. So
it's a great play, though.
Yeah, great play. My dad got home, and he's like, "Did you make the catch? That's the most important thing."
Exactly, 100%.
So, anyway, yeah, like you said, we were competing in everything. A pizza eating contest. So you can eat the most slices of pizza. Everything. So
do you guys have like neighborhood kids that join in, like friends? Because I can imagine like being a neighborhood kid, getting invited to the Zeller house to play, backyard football. I'd be like, no, I'm good today. I think I'm good. Like, I think you guys, you three go ahead and play. I'll sit this one out. Like who are the poor kids that had to play with you guys?
Yeah, we grew up way out in the country, so we didn't have neighbors weren't that close.
Yeah.
But we had a couple kids across the street that come over and play once in a while. And then my dad would play with us a lot. So my dad's like 6'5", he's pretty well built. And so we would always play like 2-on-2, and my dad would be the fourth, whether it was football or basketball or whatever else. So, but he's a big strong guy. So he was always like the, no blood, no foul, like just pushing us into the bushes and everything else. So even my mom she played Division III basketball and softball. So she would get out there once in a while and, shoot around with us, play horse with us and stuff. So made it fun.
You obviously you played North Carolina. You've lived in North Carolina for a while. You grew up in Indiana. Tate and I love arguing about this. Which state matters more in basketball?
Especially high school. I mean, it's no comparison. It's just, Hoosiers, the movie is just like, that's exactly what you get.
Yeah.
Like I said, town of 12,000, and we would sell it out on Friday and Saturday nights. So just the whole town was there, and it kind of prepared me for playing at Indiana on a bigger stage or in the NBA, just because it was to a small scale. The spotlight was on us in a small little town, just being, on the basketball team and everything else. So, and especially growing up with 2 older brothers, we had, there's four streets that go into Washington, and it says there's signs going into town. It says, "Welcome to Washington, home of Mr. Basketball, Luke Zeller, home of Mr. Basketball, Tyler Zeller." And for 3 years, I drove past that sign because we live outside of town. I drive past that sign every day on the way to school, like wondering if I'm going to be on the sign someday.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of pressure on me, to be in the third and wondering if I'm going to win a state championship or develop into a good player. So on a small scale, that I kind of had to live up to those expectations in a small town.
I think you did all right. I would say that I think it worked out well for you.
Yeah, and then I think we can all agree here. Indiana is high school basketball, and then North Carolina is college basketball. That's the difference. We care about college basketball.
Here's the deal. So there's a little bit of a split in North Carolina because there's some Duke fans scattered. There's some North Carolina fan, Wake Forest,
and Charlotte's a different entity. You know what I mean? It's almost an independent state within the state.
Yeah, but in Indiana, I mean, everyone's an Indiana fan, other than just that tiny little pocket in West Lafayette. Everyone else.
Yeah. I think, Tate, you get lost too in the North Carolina. You guys win titles. In Indiana, it's not about the titles. It's about the journey along the way. It's about the friends we make. It's about the journey, not the destination, Tate. So you can't – I always point to Cody, like when Indiana's going 6-25 before you get there, IU is absolutely packing maybe not every game, but they're selling out Assembly Hall going 6-25. North Carolina would not do that. There's no chance they're doing that. North Carolina is not going. Yeah, they're not selling.
Not at all. And North Carolina's had so many good players that even my brother was ACC Player of the Year and won a national championship there. But he's like just another guy there. I mean, they've had MJ and all these legends that back in Indiana, it's like like Jordan Halls is like a hero just because he's like a shorter white guy. Like people can relate to him. He just grew up, loving basketball and made it as a big time Division I player. So guys like that is like an Indiana hero. So it's
Tom Coverdale is one of my favorite players of all time, Cody. You don't need
love those guys. So yeah, it's really cool. I mean, Indiana history is something else.
Tom Coverdale has been mentioned consecutively on now 5 straight podcasts, and nobody thought it was possible, but it was. And I
somehow worked Tom Coverdale into the
I'm going to be Jordan on the next podcast. When I mention Tom Coverdale, I'm going to be MJ up there doing the 6.
He did
it. Cody, thank you so much for joining us. Do we have anything else, Tate? Did we hit it all?
I was going to say, Cody, my only advice being in Charlotte, Jake Delhomme, he had the Bojangles ads. You got to get on the Bojangles ads. You got to figure that out. Like you're in Charlotte. That's a great sponsorship. I don't know what's going on with those commercials down there, but you got to figure a way in there. That's my last.
What's your Cookout order, Cody? What are your thoughts on Cookout
order? I get 2 of the Cookout trays, which is a lot of food. I usually get 4 corn dogs and 2 burgers, either a burger or a hot dog, and 2 sweet teas.
Love that.
1 sweet tea and 1 shake sometimes. So pack it on.
I love that. Yeah, the trainers love to hear that for the Hornets.
Oh yeah.
No, but it's okay, Tate. He goes jogging in the neighborhood every so often, so he's staying.
Yeah, exactly right. I figure I work out so much, I burn enough calories. I can handle it.
That's right.
Man. Well, Cody, thank you for joining us. Good luck with the guitar lessons. Good luck with the rest of the quarantine. We'll have to have you back on at some point. But we really
have me back on once I learn how to play guitar. I'll play something. This will be great. So
that'd be awesome. All right, stay safe, man. Thanks for joining us.
All right,
thanks Cody.
Guys. Appreciate it.